What's up, Break Room Maniacs? Welcome to a very live special edition of the Break Room Podcast, Friday night live on YouTube. I got my man Vin, and we got the too sweet Chris Sweet here today. Our big buddy Rob right now is currently in Philadelphia, and the real life Peter Griffin is hosting the Head Nerds in Charge show. So shout out to them for getting Rob on board to kind of do his Peter Griffin shtick. He's out in Philly right now. Hopefully he gets some good cheesesteaks, and Rob will be back live with us.
Not too many.
Not too many cheesesteaks. He's on a diet. He's been doing really well with that. Speaking of doing really well with a diet, we just came back from our trip to Queens, where we met the greatest professional wrestler of all time, the best there is, the best there was, the best there will be, Bret the Hitman Hart, and he was amazing. The line, the crowd, the atmosphere, it was absolutely off the hook. We got so many things autographed. I got 3 pieces autographed from Bret, stuff that I will take with me to my grave. You will bury me with this.
There it is.
Strap that Bret Hart autographed. You can see it right there.
Nice.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Paint marker for the win. Bret the Hitman. Wayne Eagle.
It took till we got to the front of the line to figure out which color are we going to use.
I know. I'm glad I went with the pink. The pink
What was in between?
I had to get the pen ready, though. I had to get the pens ready because honestly, at first, they weren't sure if they were working. And then I got them all like tested out. And then we saw like the pink really started to come out nice.
Footage we would just do stuff without being fucking nothing on video if it wasn't for Vin. But I brought a couple of markers with me. I brought a silver, a gold, because I didn't know which one we wanted to use, and I had a pink one that I bought from a while back. So I got the belt autographed, and it's a wrestling store, and they sell wrestling figures, and they did say that I was the only person who brought this in to autograph. This is the WWE Elite Series 94. Bret the Hitman Hart Chase. So this is actually a rare edition of the figure that came out. He's in a little bit different attire here. He's in the attire from the 1991 SummerSlam, the Intercontinental title matchup against Mr. Perfect. We do have a YouTube, TikTok, Instagram video of the unboxing of this video.
Shorts.
But I said I was going to get it autographed in the video, and here is the autograph. I cannot wait for this to kind of be on display. I'm happy about that.
Joe.
The other thing that we got autographed, and Chris, you're going to really love this. I'm going to take it out of the bag here because I put it like in a little Ziploc bag, but this is really, really cool. It's my all-time favorite. I don't know if you were lucky enough as a kid to be ringside and get Bret to kind of take these off and give them to you. But the Hitman Shays with the Hitman logo, and he autographed for us. Rob got one of these too, so really, really cool. Really, really excited about that. Other than that, we did head over into Brooklyn.
Joe, slow down a little bit. I want to ask a question. With the belt, are you worried at all that the marker or like the autograph might like ever get scuffed off or like fucked with? Like, is there a way that you can protect that, like a layer of something clear or something you could put over that to protect it, or is it pointless or what?
I do keep the belt in like the sleeve that it comes in, so it's not out like that at all times. I only take it out when I want to display it or if I want to show it. But there is like probably a clear kind of like
clear coat
sticker that you can adhesive that you can kind of put over that tip of the belt, which they call it the sweet spot. It's on the sweet spot of the belt. There's definitely adhesive kind of put over that and kind of preserve.
Is that a metal plate?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. All right. I thought it was on the leather because I was like,
No, it is on the leather. It is on the leather.
It's right on the leather, yeah.
So it's
right on the leather.
Wow. Yeah, but it's leather. It's not really leather. It's like
talk about trying to keep it safe. Fucking funny because we're standing out in line and all of a sudden you see these clouds rolling in, and it's like everyone's checking the weather. Like, is it gonna rain? And it literally says, yeah, it's gonna downpour for like the next hour or two, and then magically, really just a couple of little drops here and there. Nothing happened, and these guys were all. There were so many people standing out there with their belts like in the open, like all these figures, all this shit. I was like,
it would have been horrible.
This would be a disaster.
Got ruined. And Vin ran to the car. He grabbed the umbrella, so he was like precautionary and like taking measures. Like, thank God it was a nice day, and we didn't really have any bad weather.
And then I forgot it again. This is the second time I forgot the umbrella at the secret stash, and then I also forgot it this time. And Rob forgot his chair too.
Is that correct?
Yeah, no, we got it. It's funny.
I saw the video of from the dungeons with us. He said the sweet spot, LOL. So I saw the video of both Rob and you meeting Bret, and I was happy for you, you little fuck. See a little smile on your face, and
how are you calling anybody little? You're 5'6".
I can't wait to show you guys.
5'9".
I
No,
can't wait to show you guys
I'm
the
happy. I was
footage
happy
because
for you because you're like a pig in shit. And it was funny though because you said to Brett, you were like, you know, when I met you, you were 39 years old. Now I'm 39 years old, and I just thought from The Sopranos, it was like, when I met you two, you was old. Now I'm old, and you still old.
I got some good footage of that. I had both cameras. I never felt under so much pressure to capture a moment because Joe's like, "Here, take my phone. If you could take a video, it'd be great." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." So I have my phone and his phone, and I'm trying to like get, you know, decent perspectives and kind of different perspectives for, you know, the edit later.
Like filming that and capturing that. There's one little thing that I wish you would have filmed an additional maybe 10 seconds. When I had Brett hold the belt for the photo op, I guess you switched off video and moved it into photo because you wanted to take a nice photo, and I appreciate that. But there was a part where Brett was saying that the Winged Eagle is the most beautiful belt. He loves that belt. And I said, well, it's your belt. You never lost it. That's why you're holding it. And then he goes, it's not like the piece of shit that they use today. And we missed that. And he said it. I was going to say,
that moment's for you, though. That moment's for you. That's a special moment only you can remember. So, no, that was a great time. He was, you know, they were very kind over there at Wrestling Universe. They let me in. I did not have a ticket, but I was just really, you know, trying to capture everything for the guys, and they were very cool about it. Brett was very cool. You know, just observing and watching him interact with everybody. People brought in their families, and you should see, like, it was incredible. Multi-generational fans. Really cool moment. And obviously to see Joe meet Brett in the flesh, you know, Joe, you know, was like, you got to come, you got to, you know, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can't miss this. So glad I'm happy I was there. I'm happy I was able to capture it in what I think will be a really good fucking video. Yeah, everybody's asking, "Where's Sweet? Where's Sweet?"
I had a family
We were
party.
gonna break your ass.
They combined two of my
I was
nieces.
at a family barbecue.
Once in your
man,
life.
I get that, but you can't also be an absentee piece of shit uncle. And it was
I've
two
known
of my
about
nieces.
this for months.
Listen, I've known about this for months. I fucking RSVP'd, yes. And it's two of my nieces. They combined their birthdays into one day. You can't make it more convenient. You know what I mean? Like, birthdays and that shit is always inconvenient. You know, he did a 2-in-1.
Your brother Michael, it was your brother Michael, right? Was it Michael?
Yeah.
He would have understood. Especially if he got the belt signed by Bret Hart.
I know, but, you know, I never get to see my nieces except for their birthday.
But you have to come to the next thing, though. You can't be missing from the next thing. Because you missed the pizza place. You missed the pizza place, and the pizza place was fucking great. L&B's Spumoni Garden.
All the comments are like, "Oh, the place is fucking overrated. There's 12 better places in Brooklyn." I thought that was funny. From the dungeon, I want to answer his question because in the comments there he asked, "Are you guys going to talk about the Vince situation, or are we going to talk about Jeff Hardy?" Yeah. Absolutely. We do have it on the list coming up pretty soon. Actually.
Oh, Jeff Hardy, that's a good point. Yeah, that's another big.
Jeff Hardy we forgot about, so thank you for reminding us. That's a whole nother thing. But well, what else? So you guys went to Spumoni Gardens after that, though?
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on that. We had a great time. You know, Rob lost 30 pounds. He's on a really good diet, and he's going crazy with this diet where you can't even talk him out of it. Like, we've gotten together and you've had Taco Bell in front of him. We've had fucking pizza in front of him, and he won't cheat. He won't cheat the diet. So I'm really proud of him, and I'm really happy with the success that he's having. But he did deserve a nice reward in Spumoni Gardens. The Sicilian pie was his reward. He did get some Spumoni ice cream on top of that. I really want to shout out Vin for this video because he put out 2 or 3 really quality social media videos that have just actually blown up on our TikTok, on our Instagram, and I actually really want to thank, you know, all the recent followers, all the recent subscribers, and the likes, the comments, the shares, the views. I really want to thank you. We really appreciate all the support that you guys have given us over the last couple weeks. And these 2 guys that are on the show, it's not possible without them, and it's not possible with any of this if we don't have Rob there. So I definitely want to put in the work. And how about that fucking song? Dude, that song was money.
Listen, that talk about a moment. All right, so check this out. You know, we go to Spumoni Gardens. Pizza's good. I've never had it before, so to me, I don't know about 20 years ago and all this shit. It was good pizza, and I'm not gonna fucking say, oh, it's good if it's not. It was literally it's great fucking pizza. The sauce is delicious, especially when it's fresh.
Yeah.
and I was definitely enjoying it. So I had like I said, we had 4 slices. We were gonna go to another pizza spot, but for some reason this place closed at fucking 8 o'clock on like a Friday night. We were like, okay. But I hope you guys didn't hear that. Sorry. But
I also want to. We got some more comments going on here, if I may.
Oh yeah.
Ryan I edit finally got to join us. He said he's never caught us live.
Hey.
And he won't again because he's going to bed. But he was happy to join us. Ryan I edit's always been commenting
in the comments,
for
baby.
quite some time. So we're glad we got to see you, brother. Appreciate you. Get some rest, and you can give it a listen.
We'll be back with an in-person episode where where we really got the the energy and the teams together.
Let us know what time that works best for you guys too. We're shooting to start at 9 o'clock, but
8.
8 o'clock.
I want 8.
Yeah.
Tell me, let us know. Is earlier better?
Earlier.
Is a different day better? I mean, Jesus, but actually no, we can't change days.
He did ask to get a better shot of that shirt you have on, Vin.
Oh yeah, cool. For sure. I actually got this out when I was with Roberto, a couple weeks ago. We were trying to get some stuff for the Obi Wan episode, but yeah, actually I really like this one. It's kind of me. I like the technical shit, I like technical drawings, whatever. So I felt like this one was a good one.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a blueprint. Yeah, I don't mean to derail us, but I do want to stop and acknowledge some of the comments when we get them in. Definitely right now a lot of shit going on with wrestling. So what was next on our was that, Joe?
I said some new shit has come to light. You guys have to watch.
I don't know if you're privy to this new shit, but
talk us through, Vin and Sweet, if you could, like the opening of SmackDown tonight. I didn't get the chance to watch it. I'll watch it on a replay, but talk us through, what we kind of went over in the news, the breaking news that happened today with Vince McMahon stepping down as the CEO of WWE. Holy shit! Like I didn't think I would until he's 95 years old and
dying. Hold on, he's not stepping down for good. He's temporarily stepping down while the board does an investigation. What I'll say is that I had to take a nap after work, man. I was drained, but I made sure to set my alarm and tune in at 8 o'clock. And I'm curious what the ratings are for SmackDown at the 8 o'clock hour, because I'm sure tons of people tuned in to see what is Vince gonna say. And he literally came out, walked down to the ring super quick, and it was like a minute. It was
so. Let me understand this, though. I mean, not to I know he was getting was hyped up that he was going to appear tonight, but like, what's going on? What's actually happening? Because I'm just catching up. I know basically they're investigating that he may have had like an affair with a woman in the organization, and then she got like a payment. I don't know. I heard $3 million, something like that, to the effect of that.
Say their salary raised from like $200,000 to $300,000, and then she got an NDA like kind of payoff, Stormy Daniels type of deal, where it's like you don't talk about this, and we pay you $3 million, and that's it. It's an NDA. Which I guess was kind of pointless. Like, do you get a refund on that if it becomes public knowledge?
There are laws actually coming out that are like trying to dispose of how powerful the NDA is in terms of like, because this apparently is being used like very broadly, whether actors, basically anybody. If you're anybody with money, people that you're sleeping with or whatever, you have a relationship, but you basically have to have them have an NDA because it locks them up from ever saying anything about your relationship ever, and especially in court. So, and here's the thing, like I feel like with this, I'm sure they're investigating it.
Sorry.
The consent. You know what I'm saying? Is it's just like somebody that he must have dated in the organization. I don't think Linda McMahon. She looks like they fell out of love a long time ago. So, I'm just it sucks that, but I guess they got to go through the motions, and he has to do the right thing for the organization at this point, right?
Yeah, and I mean, at the time being, his daughter is taking over as interim CEO, which kind of tells you. Well, I mean,
didn't she tweet weeks ago that she was actually stepping away?
I almost wonder if they knew about this. They probably did, and it's like fucking rest up because you're about to be dealing with a lot of bullshit. And I think it's the board itself that like opened the investigation. It's not even like some
it's like due diligence at this point. They have to. It's almost like that in this day and age, you know. And there again, we talked about this.
Fucking buys out WWE.
Yeah, publicly traded company. We've talked about it in the past.
It be? Oh man,
for them to go private.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, fuck the whole Twitter situation. I mean, apply that to this though, where Joe will definitely agree that, I mean, even though going public took wrestling to a whole nother level, profitability, they were all millionaires, billionaires. The product was never as good because they're beholden to stockholders, and
I think, yeah, going public changes the dynamic of your business dramatically, because instead of worrying about the broad vision of your business, you're worried about that and simultaneously worried about quarter-to-quarter growth. Everything is about having a better quarter than the previous quarter in the previous year, no matter
which
what.
They are.
Whatever it takes.
They've been doing great financially.
And it also handcuffs you a little bit, because if you want to do something that's controversial or whatever, they have to tiptoe, because then they're open to the court of public opinion even more, where the stock can dip. It can take you can lose 50%, 60 or plus value of your company just because of whether it's a creative thing or I don't know. I should look it up now. Is the stock reacting to the Vince McMahon news?
It wasn't at first. I think when he announced that he was stepping down, it took a dip. From the Dungeon says, but who cares who Vince had sex with? I mean, it's.
Hey, I mean,
it wasn't. The big thing is that it wasn't.
The first time that fucking intern, you didn't think he didn't fucking any more Monica Lewinsky's fucking years ago when
probably
Vince McMahon is the genetic jackhammer, bro. He's been freaking. He's gone through.
He's probably. I mean, really, they're probably looking into it because of the money more than anything. It's the money. It's the payment. It's a $3 million, whatever.
Was it his
and I'm
own
sure
money,
that's
or was it the company's?
Company money, and that's why.
I don't think it was. I think it was his own money.
Oh, I couldn't debate. Yeah, I wouldn't.
If it's you guys got to watch SmackDown. Talk us through exactly. You said he was on for a minute.
Open.
What did he say?
He walked out for like literally pretty quickly. It almost seemed
90 seconds.
Everything was timed. Like the show started, his music hit, and like he was walking out. He looked like kind of fine, and he was pretty much like, the 4 words that opened the show were then, now, together, forever. Or it was then, now, forever, together. Said the most important word in all of that is something along the lines. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember he said the most important word of that is together. And we're going to go through, we're going to, something along the line. It was pretty much that. Like, we're all together. And then
it was a little,
and then he walked out. That was it. It was super like Vince is, despite who he was as Mr. McMahon, Vince doesn't really want to be on screen anymore. Like that's a thing. Apparently, he's very much like, no, I'm too old for TV. Like he's aware of that, so he hasn't really been trying to be in the spotlight way too much. More so a little bit lately, but.
In my eyes, this all blows over. It's just, it's a here and now in the moment controversy kind of, but I don't, unless something hyper negative comes out in the investigation, there's some kind of complaint, this or that, but I'm sure this is something that you won't remember in 6 days. The way things work nowadays, like, I don't know if you'll be thinking about this in a week, to be honest, but the WWE is taking some hits. Regardless, the WWE is taking some hits. There's this Vince McMahon thing. Stephanie's got to step into the role temporarily. They're dealing with injuries. At a business level, you're dealing with like your high performers, or at least one of the biggest up and comers that, I think is not ever, but he's going to be in that list of this up and coming young star who's going to be crowned at some point. I think everybody feels like he's. Yeah, sacrificing everything, his body. So Cody Rhodes, it seems like that injury, he's going to be out for how long, Joe?
9 months. I mean, we kind of segue into, the Hell in a Cell match that he had, and what a pair of fucking balls on this guy to go and actually work with a complete pec tear right off the fucking bone. I mean, it was awesome. I've been watching wrestling pretty much my entire life since I'm 4 years old, and I've seen Mick Foley wrestle without his ear. I've seen Sabu wrestle with his freaking bicep ripped open. I've never seen an injury of that magnitude, and the fact that he actually went through with the match, and the match was actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't get all the spots in that they wanted to. Had he not
gone off the top if they could have, but he would have never
I
been
agree.
able to climb. You
Oh,
can't
that's
climb
right.
the
We
Hell in a
called
Cell
it.
with
No,
one arm.
He couldn't
No
raise
way.
his arm like that.
And in
way
the
he
beginning,
was
he
going
couldn't.
fast.
You actually
couldn't
saw
lift
him
his
walking
arms.
out in the beginning, and like he raised one arm, and the other one was like here. He
Yeah.
couldn't. But as time went on, he seemed to. I'm sure when the adrenaline and the blood was rushing, he was able to actually kind of have some mobility. But
It's
the
tough.
reason
That's-
he was able to do that, they said the reason they allowed him to wrestle was because his pec was torn entirely off the bone. It couldn't have been injured anymore by wrestling. So
That's great.
there was
I
no
love to hear
real
it.
danger of any additional danger, and that's why they allowed it to.
Yeah, but
Joe's
in an age where these fucking athletes get a fucking splinter in their fucking finger and they're out fucking 6 months and they short the fans who came and paid their hard-earned money, especially in today's fucking economy. You pay your hard-earned money to go sit in a crowd to watch an NBA player, an MLB player, NFL, NHL, whatever, and they sit out, they miss the game, and you didn't get to see them. He made sure that the fans got every single bit of their money's worth.
Yeah.
And what a credit to Cody Rhodes. He's easily my favorite current wrestler. It's not even fucking close. He's amazing. So we're gonna miss Cody 9 months. If I had to make
I
a
hope
guess,
it's not 9 months. I don't
Well,
think
I
he'll
mean,
be out
you
the whole
know.
9 months. I think he'll
He'll
come
be-
back
he'll
as
be
a
appearing.
character. Yeah, he'll be on TV. I don't see him just staying home for 9 months. I see him on TV operating in some kind of a role where he doesn't have to wrestle or get physical, but he'll be back, I'm sure. I would, unless he just comes out as a surprise in a Royal Rumble. I mean, they may do that, but that's a little too easy, I think.
that's actually where my guess was going. I mean, Royal Rumble is exactly 9 months away in January, and if he comes out as an entry and he wins the Royal Rumble and he challenges, WrestleMania for the title, whoever the champion is at this point, hopefully it's not Roman Reigns because he's fucking boring. Either way,
Well, we'll see.
What by Cody Rhodes.
yeah,
And there's
it's-
other wrestling news that we kind of got on tap for you guys tonight. Sasha Banks has reportedly been released from the WWE, so that's kind of like a work in progress, a breaking news story. There's not exactly like any we can't validate that yes or no yet, but there is a lot of speculation right now that she's officially been released. And I don't really know what to make of that. Is she going to go into AEW? Is she just going to kind of continue to do some acting gigs like she was in The Mandalorian? I think she's a super talented performer. I think she's probably the top 1 or 2 females on their entire roster. And it just sucks right now. They're in a recovery phase where Cody Rhodes came in red hot and now he's out. Randy Orton, I thought, was, stepping into the prime or the last, few years of the prime of his career, and he's out. And now Sasha Banks, one of their top female performers, she's gone. So it's crazy. Things going on right now in pro wrestling.
I honestly
WWE's
was
on
never a
feels
big
a
fan
little.
of Sasha, and I'm like, they'll be fine without her. I really don't think it's gonna make any difference. I think she's got a big head right now, and good for her. She's entitled to
I
that.
think most people are I'm assuming similar to The Rock. They want to use the WWE as a platform because they're performers more now than they are like. Not to say that they're not passionate fucking wrestlers, but I'm just saying,
Well,
they look at
it's a launch
yeah,
pad.
yeah, definitely, and it's I'm sure for her it's like someone like that needs more acting classes, can't be on the road doing shows weekly or whatever the schedule is as a wrestler, because regardless, it's always torturous. Like that's what you hear from wrestlers. Like you're living that life no matter what. You're on the fucking road. And if you're going to be a Mandalorian and fucking whatever the hell else Disney's doing and all these other opportunities are knocking, I'm sure you're just like, well, I got some other shit I want to do and I'm going to go fucking do it. Not cool for the fans. The fans obviously feel cheated. And I don't know if, obviously she was motivated by the story arc that they were writing for her, right? That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
pretty
it was
much.
creative
Not happy
differences.
with she wasn't happy with the creative for her match on Raw with her tag partner Naomi, who they were the current female women's tag champions on Raw, and they just walked off. They dropped the belts at Gorilla, which is basically like the entrance before you go on stage and before you go out to the crowd. They call it the Gorilla position, and they dropped the belts to John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon, and they walked off. And we did talk about that a few weeks back, and now more shit has come to light, dude. And,
that reminds me, Joe. Speaking of more shit coming to light, you mentioned John Laurinaitis, who's the head of WWE's talent. He's apparently named in this investigation as well. They were saying like, I don't know, somebody else like reported something, and I don't want to go there, but he's named in the thing too.
Until something is concrete, until some evidence is like out there and it's confirmed. All this shit is hearsay. All this shit is not concrete. Right. It's fucking hearsay. So
the whole
moving
Johnny
on.
Depp trial proved that. I also just want a couple of things here. From the Dungeon said that Sasha has the worst attitude in real life. He met her and Bailey, who's like her tag partner a lot of times, and they can't even say hi. I will say, though, it's possible maybe they were trying to be in like a heel role, so that's why they were a jerk, because they were trying to
explain for them.
No, I'm saying maybe, but I mean, they could have just been an asshole too.
Yeah, some people are just fucking assholes.
It's weird with wrestling, you don't know, because that's how MJF is. MJF will, tell fans to go fuck themselves, and
he's kayfabe all the way. He's living the game.
Yeah,
he's not like Shawn Michaels is, but anyway, I had to throw that in there at you, Chris. We want to talk about Jeff Hardy. We want to kind of jump on that real quick.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I mean, he got another DUI, which I mean, like, hey man, I love Jeff. I love the Hardy Boys. Like, he's got like, I don't even know. It's more than 5 DUIs.
He's the John Jones of the fucking wrestling world.
Just stop fucking driving, dude. Like, how many DUIs do you need to get? He's gonna fucking kill somebody. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't do that. I'm not even saying don't drink. I mean, he should stop. Obviously, he's got a problem.
Got to if that's what you're doing.
Especially don't drive.
And you probably got an ego problem too, where you're like, I can fucking drive, fuck you, and you're like, all right, man, don't. But
rich, man, just call the fucking Uber. Like,
is he rich? How rich are
they? They've done well for themselves over the fucking.
He's definitely a multi-millionaire, without a doubt.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, call a fucking cab. Call a black car. Come on. Yeah. What are you doing? What's the point?
I would hate. That's the thing, man.
He's in the AEW, right? That's the whole. He's the AEW now.
What happened was a few months ago, he just, like, I saw the video of the match. He was very lethargic. It was like a 6-man tag match, and he was just like flopping around. He looked very exhausted. Can you not? Beer. What?
2 beers. What?
Huh?
Jeff Hardy was exhausted.
3 beers.
Fucking passing out, and then he just left through the audience. And
he was drunk.
He was probably. I mean, he looked inebriated, but WWE just fired him. They pretty much they said go to rehab or you're fired. And he attested he wasn't drunk. He wasn't high. He passed a drug test. So, apparently he was wrongfully fired, and maybe they jumped the gun, but I guess not. It's a fucked up situation, man. But I would hate if fucking Jeff Hardy like killed somebody, man. That would ruin his career. That would like you would never be able to look at him the same again.
I want to touch on that a little bit. I did recently watch Stone Cold's Broken Skull session, the newest one that he had with Jeff Jarrett, and one of the conversation pieces that they had during the show is Jeff Jarrett talks about how he's a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
How alcoholism is a disease, and it could be linked to hereditary kind of issues. And he kind of makes light that he's jealous of, like, Stone Cold can drink all the beer he wants in the world, and then he can cut it out when it's time to go to WrestleMania and get in shape, and he can just not drink beer for a couple of months. And that's a privilege. That's something that, he can kind of do, but not everybody has that. And he talked about, being able to get into rehab and getting all the support from WWE, who actually paid for his rehab and his recovery. Then they put him in the Hall of Fame, and now Jeff Jarrett is one of the producers on WWE. They brought him back in. So it's a great kind of full circle story. I just hope at some point Jeff Hardy can really see that.
Absolutely.
Because he has so much to offer. Because he's an artist, he's a singer. Like, this guy is pretty fucking talented. Right? From the stuff that he does in the ring as a performer. He's coming to the tail end of his career now, but like, you still have life left in your career when you're in your 40s and 50s. There's still stuff that you can kind of contribute if you want to stay attached to the professional wrestling business. So hopefully, whatever he decides to do, we wish him well, and hopefully he can kind of recover and get back on track. Sweet, do you have any that you want to kind of read through before we segue into the next topic?
Yeah, let's see. So, Hell's speaking of The Rock, what's he doing right now? In times of need,
Fucking Black Adam. That's it.
Vince
It's the only thing
been-
he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think he's saying The Rock should come back, which would be great. John Luke said he wants us to start at 7 a.m. on Wednesdays.
Yes, John.
That'd be an interesting time.
So one day
From the
12 o'clock.
dungeon
One day it'll
says-
be at noon.
Jeff should just stay home, chill, and be a dad. He's got mad money, and I mean, I think that's what I kind of hoped for when WWE released him, that he would just take some time off and like.
When they released him, which time? He's been released like 4 or 5 times already.
Yeah, well, this most recent time, but then he
Gonna
went
get
to
drunk.
AEW with his brother, and the Hardy Boys reunited again, which was cool, But yeah,
It's tough, man.
I'm not saying anything from a position of judgment either. It's out of like a position of concern for his legacy, like people like drunk driving's a fucking thing, and
Killing people while you're drinking and driving.
I would
can
hate
happen
for the
very
legacy
easily.
of the Hardy Boys, not just him, but just to be ruined.
It'll be summed
over.
up to that. Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
get summed up to that, and that sucks.
It would
But
be a
that's the
Chris
truth.
Benoit situation,
Of course. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man,
Oh,
that's like
That's you're saying he's going to turn into a murderer and kill his family?
All right, hold on.
Not
That's-
that type of thing, but his career would be marred
Anything
by
he ever did is-
this horrible
No.
thing.
Oh, that's no.
If
I mean,
Jeff Hardy
at the end
fucking
of the
got
No,
into
if
a
he
head-on
killed,
collision,
no, he's saying
killed himself
if he
and a
killed
family,
somebody, if he killed somebody drinking and driving.
yeah,
Listen,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ric Flair's been driving drunk since he's fucking 20. The guy's shut down more bars in this country than you can fucking visit in one day.
Drinking and driving's an American pastime, but it doesn't. Yeah, it shouldn't. It's not condonable. You shouldn't do it.
That's why Sonny.
I had my own
You
experience.
remember Sonny? The wrestler Sonny, or whatever you want to.
Right.
She wasn't really a wrestler, but she was like
LA.
the biggest female star of WWF in the '90s, early '90s, I guess.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels' ex-girlfriend,
Tammy Sitch. She's fucking in jail right now because she killed somebody in a fucking drinking and driving. So, it happens, fucking pastime or not.
Easily.
Obviously, if he keeps
Easily.
getting pulled over, he's not that good at it. And,
Clearly.
But again, none of that's a position of judgment.
Fool me once.
Joe's right. It's an illness, and hopefully he can get better.
Gonna
Fucked
get
up.
drunk.
Was there anything else on the wrestling front? I mean, I feel like those were the broad strokes of it, right?
Yes, I mean, we do have, some pay-per-views coming up where hopefully we get together for Money in the Bank. I don't know how good that pay-per-view is going to be, but we might have some content for you later.
Based on what we just talked about.
Bank. And then also the 26th of June is AEW's Forbidden Door, where it's a joint production with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I am definitely going to watch that. To me, this is probably the AEW's biggest show of the year. It's unfortunate right now that another wrestler on their roster is injured. CM Punk is injured right now. So the world champion CM Punk.
Fucking sports.
It's just crazy right now. All these injuries. Like AEW has a full roster of injuries. WWE has injuries and things like that. So it's fucking crazy right now. Yeah.
By the way,
segueing into our next topic, I know John Luke said he wants us to go live on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Live at Wednesday at 7 a.m. means Obi Wan. So we just got to see episode 5 of Obi Wan.
Because of Obi Wan?
Because of Obi Wan? You want us to go live at 7 a.m. because of Obi Wan?
If only.
You guys get to watch episode 5, and what are your thoughts? Vin, I'll kick it to you.
I'm trying to focus my camera over here. But yeah, okay, so we haven't talked since episode 3, right? So 4 and 5 were the ones that we could technically recap. Episode 4 and 5. 4 was too short. Everybody agrees. And it was taking a couple of directions of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we wasting time here? Because at that
4
point,
was basically a prison break.
yeah, and I like there's definitely moments in it. Really love, of course, Obi-Wan using the Force to stop the, stop the breakage in the tunnel there. But definitely, and then I did like the scene of him in the chamber getting Leia free. That would just look cool. It was reminiscent of a scene I think in Clone Wars or Rebels, I forget which. But 4 was kind of a dud. It was short, and it's part of this whole thing where we're talking about 6 episodes and every minute counts, especially when it comes to Star Wars fans. So I it definitely didn't hit the mark. You know, it really it went below a 4. It was in the 3.5 territory in terms of a score out of 5. Like I was getting a little worried at first, but you know, then of course they come back with a vengeance in the next episode. They know what they're doing. So I really enjoyed this last episode. I mean, shit, you know, watching Vader and the ship, that was just like, you know, you see that stuff in the video games. We've seen it in comics. We've seen it in other mediums. Very rarely do we see Vader exert that kind of force on camera. But the only problem with it is, if I had a criticism at this point, it's going to be like, they should decide whether this is a TV show or if it's a fucking movie. And then they should give it the kind of money that it deserves, because the budget, I think, should be higher. I think there should be more episodes. If they could have kept the same pacing of the first episode, which I thought was nice. It was drawn out enough where you could really like dig into the moments and the pauses and the reflection you could see in Obi Wan as a character. And then all of a sudden it kind of boom, boom, boom. Like we're really hopping around, and I don't feel like I'm even watching episodes. I feel like I'm watching acts.
I feel like
of
that's
a
a
play.
weird expectation to have, that every episode's going to be the same length and the same pacing. You know, it's
Well, not even
supposed to
the
be a
same
roller
pacing.
coaster.
I'm just saying, like the same. Like if you're gonna take time to be introspective, like you should take as much time on the other side of things. You should take as much time in the battle sequences and all this shit. And you can tell by even the way that they're fighting. They just don't have the same amount of time, training, choreography as the movies. You know what I'm saying? You can watch Obi-Wan and him fight. Love the flashback. I love the moment. So I try not to get too far into the weeds about this production and the money and the blah, blah, blah. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I love, you know, from right now, I'm going to give it like, it's an 8. You know what I mean? It's not like a 10. I've seen better stuff on, you know, better shows technically, but I'm enjoying the moments. I'm enjoying the little stuff, you know, Leia and Obi-Wan, trying not to ask too many questions about plot, and they've seemed to, with this latest episode, fill that hole. I don't know, Chris, you said you saw that coming. I know that you had, I think we actually did that on the record.
It's on the
in
record.
the show.
I said she was definitely a Padawan. I didn't
Well,
know
yeah,
how
we
she
knew that.
escaped, if Vader gave her a choice or what. Now spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know if you're
Spoilers.
watching this. This is like, you know, we're talking Friday night here. If you're not,
only a sentence in. Spoilers.
I've already
All right.
said a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I saw it coming. I didn't understand really how it seemed a little contrived that, okay, so she's hunting Obi-Wan and seems to hate him more than anybody, but it's really not him. It's Vader. So was it that she knew by getting closer to Obi-Wan, she would get closer to Vader and get him? I'm like,
Seems to be. It is a little contrived, if you ask me, and especially in a plot.
I thought it was badass though when he was like, I'm not. You're not bringing me to him. I'm bringing him to you. I thought that was pretty cool.
I love the Vader fight. You know, it was him and her going at it, and you know, I'm sure some people are whining that it's not Obi-Wan in that fight or whatever. But
you got Obi-Wan fighting younger Anakin. We got to see that.
Yeah.
We got
the flashback everybody's been asking for. Everybody wanted flashbacks. It was cool. I don't, you know, you could tell they look older. It's obvious. Like if you try to line it up, you'd be like, huh, they look older there than they do in the movies. Duh.
You have to suspend
But
your fucking disbelief. You know,
I know. I know. Believe me, I'm enjoying it for what it is. I try to look at it almost like, oh, like what if this was an animated story instead of a live action? I'd be digging it. I definitely wouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to watch this. You know, it's not boring. It's not fucking. I'm loving it. As a Star Wars fan, it's fucking great.
I'm loving it,
I think
man.
it's not perfect, but it's great.
You know, I'm not looking at it with a real critical lens. I'm enjoying it. There are moments like, you know, when they touched hands, Obi-Wan and Leia. You know, when they grab hands, like that was a warm moment. It made me tear up a little bit. You know, and like if you're able to get me to tear up, they're doing
something right.
Developing characters. With the small amount of time that they have, even the guy, I don't know his name, the guy who was posing as a Jedi with the lisp,
small amount of time,
kind of funny. Yeah, okay, but I mean, you know, not every episode. I think we have to. I don't want to say lower expectations, but you're going into this with expectations of how they should do it with time. This is what they've got, you know.
I got to be honest. A lot of my like criticism or the stuff that I'm talking about, it's only because I see it because I'm on the social platforms a little too much right now. Yeah, and like I see these criticisms, and I want to respond to be like, are you fucking kidding? This is like too much. You know, I watched Star Wars Theory. You know, he's a very popular Star Wars commentator on YouTube, and he has great shit. He has really great stuff. I love the things, his insights, his discussions about whether it's books, you know, lore, different whatever, unboxings, all this great shit. But they were going in on the show because of that that fourth episode. They were really hammering at it.
It was a good episode. It was quickly paced. It served its purpose 100%. Like, so, I don't know. I don't think you need to add fluff in there. There's only so much of that type of thing, of warfare, you know, and battles that you could put in there. And they're pacing it so that it'll mean more when you see it later. That's the thing, is everybody needs to fucking wait. I just want to say this. Everybody needs to fucking wait. Shut the fuck up and let the fucking story play out. Everybody's like, but why this? Why that? It should be this way. Shut the fuck up and see where the story's going to go. You know, people didn't like Reva. Yeah. And look, they're fucking explaining so now.
That's funny.
That's the whole idea, is you have to want to find something out. If they just fucking told you up front
at the end of the episode,
it wouldn't be a good story, because
that's why I keep saying it's not episodes. It's literally one continuous thing, and we have to watch all 6 parts. So whether you want to think of it as, I saw somebody said like a comic book strip, this is like a comic book strip, you know, or it's like a. Oh yeah, Joe. Sorry, go ahead.
I think both of you are on the money in terms of like your criticism. I'm loving the show. They did specify at the start of it that it's not an episodic, you know, season. It's not an episodic show. It's a 6-part special event.
Yes.
So you can even see at the start of each part, they say part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. But I do agree to Vin's point that a lot of the scenes do feel rushed. Having a pacing of, you know, a 50-minute part, a 30-minute part, a 40-minute part. Yeah, it is going to be all over the place. There's definitely things in there that kind of get rushed through. Like, I think there was an episode, I don't remember, I think it was episode 3 or 4, where Obi Wan is asking, you know, is it Ice Cube's son? He's asking Ice Cube's son,
right?
hey, will you help us,
Jackson. Right? I knew it.
He's like, will you help us? And in a matter of 10 seconds, he goes, no, I can't help you. If I help you, all these people are going to die. And then he goes, yeah, all right.
My wife is a Jedi.
Whatever, I'm in. Like, there was no, like, character development. He just goes like that, okay, I'm in, whatever. I don't know if it was a Jedi mind trick that he used on him to kind of get him just to go along with it, but I do agree that a lot of stuff
cool. That would have been fun.
Well, hold on. Speaking of which, not to cut you off, but you kind of made me remember, what was the name of, like, the starfighter guy who got killed? He was literally in the show for like 6 seconds.
Russ.
I
can't remember who
he dies, and
Brad.
It was Brad. Yeah, it was like fucking Alex. You know, fucking some random guy. Yeah, he died. You know,
and you're just like, okay. And it's literally like 5 to 10 seconds. It's a whole crashing scene. They spent a lot of VFX and time on it, and you're like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? He could have just died. But I care about Obi Wan. Like, what about?
Yes, but I will say that the actress, the other starfighter woman, her reaction to it, even though you didn't even know who the fuck this guy was 5 seconds ago, her reaction did convey the point that, like, fuck, there's casualties. Like, the more that Obi Wan gets roped into this, there's more casualties, and if people help him, then they're fucked. And that clearly played out in the most recent episode.
We talk about pro wrestling a lot. Pro wrestling fans are the fucking most critical. We talk about Marvel fans. Marvel fans and DC fans are fucking critical. Like nobody's worse than Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars fans.
They fucking take the cake. They can never, ever be satisfied. There's no amount.
It's tough.
When you had some of the greatest shit ever in Mandalorian Season 2 when Luke came out, like, oh, it's just fucking fan service. Like, what? That's the best shit that we've seen on Star Wars in years. And I kind of agree with, like, the show, the Obi Wan Kenobi show. It's some of the best shit that we've seen in Star Wars in years. Seeing Hayden Christensen again, I think with the helmet off, you know, as Anakin, doing some training with Obi Wan. I mean, that's fucking shit we haven't seen in almost 25 years. I mean, it's awesome.
Coruscant and all that.
I'm a
and the memories.
Person when I talk about shit, and I don't really have any critiques for the show. I'm absolutely loving it. I cannot wait for the finale, the final part, part 6. on Wednesday, and we'll
I've been
definitely
hearing
have our wrap-up show on Friday to kind of discuss the finale. So for
there
sure,
have been rumors that's going to be over an hour.
it fucking better be more than a half hour.
Because
Well, it has to be. They're bringing.
I think somebody. I was just going to say at some point, whether it was announced or they said like, oh, it's going to be this long. It's going to be 5 hours and 30 minutes or some shit. And right now we're at like 4 hours or 4 hours and 10 minutes. And they're like, yeah, there could be like another 60. I don't even want to, I hate saying it even out loud to like set that expectation for myself. Cause if it's 59 minutes or anything under, it'll be like a disappointment, but that would be nice. If this is like almost movie length, like a final, really good, well-paced story wrap up. Somehow they have to explain. There's a lot they have to explain, bro. How the fuck is Vader and Obi-Wan's conflict just gonna melt away for 10 more years? Is that the gap between, you know what I mean? Like, how the fuck is all this gonna happen in like such a way that Leia, I don't know, is she gonna remember everything? People keep talking about this mind wipe shit, and they're like, oh, they're gonna wipe Leia's memory of this whole event. And I was like, what? Why would they do that? I don't really.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Here's a question I have.
Leia's gonna get captured again, and she's gonna go in carbonite.
I guess this whole thing now makes sense because Reva didn't tell Vader everything, so I assume when she at the end of the episode she picks up the thing and sees Organa fucking talking about Tatooine, right? You know what I'm saying?
Boy and Owen, the boy, and she remembers the name Owen. She said, "Next time, Owen." So what's gonna happen there? But then it's like, okay, but so she's not evil because why would she need to go and hunt Owen and track Tatooine and to side with Vader again? Who knows? Who the fuck knows? They'll let us know. They'll fucking show us. That's another point I wanted to bring up.
There's a lot
the Grand Inquisitor. That was one of the complaints. Everybody was bitching and whining fucking 3 weeks ago. Oh, the Grand Inquisitor, he was a great character, and then they just fucking killed him and made him
not only
nothing.
that, he's back. He's in Rebels, so he's in the fucking
right. Well,
the
you called it that he wasn't dead.
He's just not dead.
Yeah.
I saw a funny meme.
Was fucking Reva's lightsaber though? How fucking badass was that?
That was a great fight. That was a lot of fun. I like watching Vader. They did a good job. I feel like having Vader be elusive, but obviously very like statuesque. Like
I
he's
love
not.
When he was doing like that fucking like this shit. See that?
When he kind of did some fucking
Miyagi-Do karate.
Yeah, he was picking up his legs and shit, and I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. They're having him, he had her beat from the beginning, of course. What is with the fucking people not dying though? This is like. Poor fucking Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn's the only person in Star Wars to die from a single stab through the stomach. Everybody else has survived it.
Yeah.
I saw the meme today. I was like, it's not wrong.
Well, did he chuck him down
well, all right, so
the shaft after, or was he? No, he didn't. No. Right?
No, his body's there because they burned his body later.
That is a good point. He's the only one. But what I will say is that
they say hate keeps them alive. That's the thing.
Well, there's that for the Sith, but also the lightsaber does cauterize the wound that it creates.
It's a plasma cut. Oh yeah, it'll sear all the nerve endings.
Yeah, it's like a laser surgery. People get fucking liposuction and they laser them shut these days.
They've just been using that one a little more recently. Like,
oh yeah,
what's her name in Book of Boba? She had the whole
Fennec
abdomen
Shand, done. The sheriff guy or whatever he is. Deadwood. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of. But I mean, you know what? It's creating still a whole. But look at Vader. There's
Darth
Luke gets
Maul.
his hand cut off, and there's always been that element of like that half human cyborg type of shit in Star Wars.
The Darth Maul shit is just preposterous. I'm sorry. Like I love Darth Maul. I think he's one of the coolest characters. But the fact that they brought him back as a character who's alive, or even if he's robotic, he got cut in half, like directly fucking cut in half. Like I can't buy that. I'm sorry.
You got to see it. It's so good.
And look at
so
Palpatine.
Good. He's down there in the tunnels. He's down there for years. He's like totally like completely mad. It's great. It's fucked up. He's in the sewers.
Dude. Fucking got thrown down a shaft and all that shit.
Everybody gets thrown down fucking shafts. Luke got thrown down a fucking shaft, landed on the fucking
Yoda got thrown down the fucking Senate.
Bail Organa picked him up and the fucking
Anakin jumped out of a building, lands right in a fucking like what the fuck, It's like
you can survive it, man. You got the Force, Mace
Windu. He's still alive. Mace Windu.
See, telepathic shit right there. That's amazing. He's coming back. And he keeps saying, he's like saying, like, I don't want to win Oscars. I just want to have fun, like, playing guys like Mace Windu. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, Disney, you hear me? I'm out here. I'm already Nick Fury. Why don't you just, the Mace Windu series or something? They could bring him back. They could bring him back. So imagine at the end of Obi Wan, he just he's the Force ghost. We don't see Qui-Gon. We get Mace Windu.
To kind of transverse into Tatooine, hidden and undisclosed. Oh.
How the fuck? Yeah. Well, so it was funny. I was thinking of old school Star Wars shit in that other episode because of, a couple of things. They basically mirrored the whole prison escape in a little way. But then when they're escaping in the little jacket, that was a moment where I was like, all right, this show's also made for like 8 to 10-year-olds. Cool. Okay. This isn't, not every piece of content in this show is made for like 35-year-old guys. It's, there's like a broad spectrum of people watching this, and they have to make it fun and kind of cheeky and a little like corny in a way. So, the kids will get it, and they're not thinking about it the way we're thinking. Oh, fucking preposterous to fucking goat. No one noticed. You're like, yeah, bro, like relax. You know what I'm saying?
And to that point though, they're trying to avoid the same mistakes they made with the prequels, which most people thought were too long and drawn out and explained and political. So, it is weird. It is a little jarring to be.
You cannot criticize the holy fucking books by Jesus Lucas, okay? Apparently, George Lucas makes no errors ever. Everything he ever did was fucking
people hated
perfect.
The prequels. People hated Jar Jar Binks.
I have a memory, and I remember everyone hated George Lucas because he wouldn't come out with enough shit. There was like, why doesn't he come out with more content? Like, blah, 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 blah. Prequels sucked. Fucking, Clone Wars was the best. I don't know. That was the best move they ever made. He was a genius for that one. But that's because of Dave Filoni, too. So I feel like if they're going to do season 2, you think they're going to do season 2, Obi-Wan?
Yes.
That's my question.
They have to.
Yes, I do.
Think so? Yeah. It's feeling that way. It's really feeling that way.
I don't know how they can reintroduce Luke at the end of this latest episode, spoilers, and have just a 1-hour episode. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. I know. I agree. I feel like they've opened up a lot of threads, and now to like bring it back home before you let the ship sail to New Hope, like things have to be kind of tucked. Like at some point, Vader needs to think he killed Obi-Wan, right? I don't see any other fucking way. I just don't see any way Vader just stops hunting Obi-Wan. Vader just never thinks to check Tatooine. I don't know.
Well,
that was my first episode. We talked about seeing Luke, and it's like his name is Skywalker. How does that go on for 20 years, 10, 20 years, where he's on a planet, has the name Skywalker, the same as Anakin, and no one thinks, oh, the kid's registered for school. He goes to flight school, and he's fucking taking X-Wing classes and shit, and his name is Skywalker, and you can't make that correlation. Anyway, that's nitpicking.
It's just a matter of, it's a story, and it's not real. So you you just kind of go along, and you say like, oh, okay, it's, who gives a fucking fuck? It's still a good story, like regardless.
Well, let's actually talk about our favorite parts so far of this show before we segue into you guys fucking killing each other for the next 30 minutes about the last topic.
Wait, can I do the comments? We got some comments here.
Oh yeah, definitely got to.
So, Phil Dunphy makes a good point. He says,
there he is.
Good to see Phil. He said you can't compare. This is new territory in TV medium, which is true for Star Wars. TV, like this HBO style episodic,
different.
Whatever.
It's not that. It's not that.
Yeah, it's its own. It's still kind of new territory for them. I mean, they've got their feet wet, soaking wet with Mandalorian and with Book of Boba. They're definitely hitting their stride now with it, but they're still finding their way that they want to.
No matter what, it's a business, and they're gonna invest a certain amount of money into something because they know how much it's gonna make. So they're not going to dump $250 million into I don't even know what these things cost per episode, but at some point though, to me, it does come down to money. Absolutely. That's the only thing that stops this from being better at certain points. I did see actually it doesn't stop the right, you could get good writing. You don't have to pay it that much for good writing, but the stuff that I would quote nitpick when I see certain parts of Boba, Mando's probably the best. I feel like Jon Favreau really has a good eye for what they're doing with that soundstage and all that shit. I think to Joe's point, I don't know. Let's talk about the favorite parts, because I think watching Vader fucking do what he did was awesome, but it didn't look as good as it could have looked, or would have looked in a movie type scenario. And also, it's like an extreme exertion of power by Vader, where in other areas he's seemingly limiting his power. You know, people, why didn't he extinguish the fire and capture Obi Wan again? And I tried to explain that away by saying, oh, maybe he's tracking them and he wants to know where they're going. That turned out to not be the fucking case. And then Reva pulled that trick on, in the next episode. So there's definitely a couple of things that are like, well, why, how come you're showing Vader at that strength in that moment and then kind of not in others? But
where he throws Obi-Wan in the fire almost felt like he was stalking him the entire episode, and he was just like playing with his food.
Yeah. It was Michael Myers, dude. It's like, why does Michael Myers let them get away then?
Let them
but
go.
He could have killed them right at the
chase.
beginning of the movie instantly. It's it's
agreed.
those unexplainable
Agreed.
things that if you want to make cool fucking scenes that are produced, you're always opening the possibility that you can find a spot.
But that's the kind of strength Vader has. That is the kind of strength Vader has. We've seen it in like Star Killer, actually, when he takes down one of the Imperial cruisers. Yeah. That's in like the trailer of the game. But
I didn't expect that definitely. Either. I didn't when he fucking just tore it apart and was.
I thought he was gonna fly away and be like,
"Wow, I guess Obi-Wan's gonna fight him now." Probably everyone inside's probably rattled, but then it just like and they're out. I thought that was.
And that was very reminiscent of.
I didn't see that.
The Millennium Falcon kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
a little bit. So
Falcon for you guys, I'll start with you, Chris. Who's your favorite character? Who's stealing the scenes for you in this show so far?
Vader. I mean, seeing him go through that village and just like fucking breaking people's necks and spines and like throwing them around, like how exactly, like how I used to chuck the Ewoks around and Force Unleashed, like. That was so badass because not even just seeing it physically and the violence, but the reasoning behind it was that he sensed Obi-Wan. You could see, and they did it. They told the whole story without even saying anything. Obi-Wan hid himself in the sense from Vader and cut himself off. That Vader was like, wait, where did he go? And you see, he's like, what the fuck? I lost him. So he just kills somebody and that elicits the reaction from Obi-Wan that Vader's like, oh, there he is. And that's why he's fucking just killing these people like a vampire, walking through the streets and torturing them.
Jedi.
He's powering up, feeding off of this is all shit from like the Bane books. Like he's powering up, feeding off of their pain and their suffering. And it's gassing him up. And it's also getting the reaction from Obi-Wan that he can follow him. And yeah, that chase in the dark where like you can't see anything and the lightsabers, and then you're like, there's no way Vader's anywhere near him, and it's just, and then the fucking sword, man, the face-offs that they've had, I'm loving all of it. I have no criticism. I'm a fucking mindless sheep. Fuck you if you think so, but I'm enjoying it. I want to be a fucking sheep and say bah and enjoy my fucking Star Wars and enjoy my life and not be fucking miserable prick. So I'm really loving all of it, but the touching moment of that they actually developed a relationship that you can believe between Obi-Wan and Leia. I will say, man, I've been saying only good things, so if I could say my only nitpick is that why the fuck do they keep trusting Leia? Because she just makes everything worse. Like, she literally is just a plot
runs
device
away
to make every situation worse. Except for this last episode where she I think she redeemed herself a little bit, fixing the wires and saving everybody.
Yeah, of course, like a little shout out to Anakin and his ability to, mess with technology, and that's what I felt like that was.
Yeah. Ben, how about you? Who's stealing the scenes for you in the show?
I mean, of course, Vader is built to do that, but I would want to give credit to Ewan McGregor because every time he's on screen, you're fully disbelief is suspended. He is Obi-Wan. There is no moment where even in the cheesy whatever you want to say, it's not produced in a blah blah blah. Even in those moments, you are fully engrossed in what he's doing. So he is the character. You are watching the character. Yeah, it's 100% engrossing. So his acting ability, having to express all of those things and put us through the pain of Obi-Wan and this journey that we're experiencing with him. Huge credit to him because he's awesome, and he's when he's on screen, you want to know what he's doing, you want to know what he's feeling, and also the kid. I think the kid's doing a good job. She's definitely someone I feel like we're gonna see more of. It just seems like why would you even start this off?
I can believe her as Leia. Like I accept it. The link in my mind is there. One other thing I wanted to mention too before throwing it to Joe to get your opinion is I just wanted to say, with regard to it being a little fast and everything like that, yes, but the plot doesn't get muddled by it. The plot is still cohesive, even if they're moving a little quickly. It's not, like the last season of Game of Thrones, which we'll talk about later too, but it's not like that where they sacrifice the plot by speeding it up. I don't feel like they're
I see what you're
dirtying
saying.
The plot by speeding it up.
This is happening in a very condensed amount of time. It's happening within a week. It's happening within 5 days. Like, we're really unsure of like travel times and shit, but they beam around pretty quickly, it seems, and it all seems like this is happening, boom, like within, I would say, 7 to 10 days, and it's one continuous sequence and event, and that's. Yeah, so the pacing thing, it is a different kind of medium. So it's not really my criticism. I just sit back, I try to watch it and enjoy it for everything that it is and tie it to all the things that I know and that have happened, whether in Clone Wars or Rebels or, the trilogies. It's great to see. And I hope obviously we do get more of it. It's definitely the in the top. It's either the best or the second best to Mando, as a show, from what they've been doing, excluding the animated stuff. I love Bad Batch. But for live action, I didn't love Boba as much as I thought I should. I love Boba. So yeah.
Joe, what are your thoughts? Boba. Who's stealing the show for you? What are your favorite scenes?
Yeah, definitely. Every scene I agree with you that Vader's in, you're just completely glued. I mean, your eyes are just hooked. You can't take it off because we've been waiting years to kind of see a younger Vader, kind of what he can do and what he's like. And I agree that Ewan McGregor just nails it. Like, you don't even think that that's an actor. That's Obi Wan, and I believe Vader and Obi Wan are the draw. They're the reason why you kind of tuned into the show initially. But little Leia for me steals the show. She completely embodies the essence of Carrie Fisher in every single scene. She's snarky. She's clever. She's confident. She has some humor to her. One of the funny things you can kind of see, and they do like you can kind of see a drawback where every time she gets captured, and you can kind of see, like, if you fast forward to A New Hope, I think they did this intentionally when Carrie Fisher is captured by the Empire in A New Hope. She's like, whatever, this is like the 800th time that I've been captured, like, no big deal for me. I've been captured since I'm 10 years old, like, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool kind of tie in the timeline there, but I love the show. I don't really have a whole lot of nitpicks. It's just gonna suck now that we're gonna have a little bit of a void for Star Wars stuff after Wednesday. But
hey, they got a ton of shit on the block. We'll be seeing a couple of new shows. Endor.
We'll be well.
I think the best is yet to come because I think Ahsoka has the potential to be possibly the best thing that's come out of the live action Disney Plus shows.
Jon Favreau doing Ahsoka?
That's all Dave Filoni. So he's directing all 6 episodes. To me, that'll be the new benchmark because I think he's got the fans in mind because he is a fan first. He has the vision, he has the knowledge, he has the direct relationship and Padawan-esque relationship with George Lucas. So like the guy, there's nobody truer to Star Wars. So
and it'll have Thrawn potentially.
The shit that in Ahsoka's story.
But we're gonna be swimming Star Wars stuff in 2023. What swimming in next year? You guys want to segue into your big topic of the night, Sweet?
Oh yeah, let me switch scenes here. Back to
warm up. Oh, you got a special scene for this? Jesus.
No, it's the Monday Night Raw scene, but we'll use
Dragon Fire.
A lot of Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire developments. We already know about House of the Dragon coming up, and that's going to be such a good fucking show. I can't wait for that to redeem the franchise and change the narrative away from the final season sucked. Okay, we get it. We've spoken about that already 100,000 times. Let's move on. So I'm really looking forward to moving on and being able to enjoy that world that George R. R. Martin's created again. But
yes,
but
now instead of moving on, we're actually going back.
Yeah, because
apparently, allegedly,
a Jon Snow sequel is how they're referring to it.
Sequel series. Jesus. So first, I wanted to just say that House of the Dragon is going to be August 21st. So that's going to be cool. Got a couple months. I like Game of Thrones actually in the fall, the end of summer, fall. That's kind of the tradition that it's. What do you mean?
Game of Thrones was always springtime.
Oh,
April.
I'm sorry. The first 2 seasons, though, because I do remember Joe was coming home from like the Venetian Yacht Club in the summer, and we were watching Game of Thrones. It wasn't the spring.
I remember it being on my birthday, and that's in July. So, yeah, it varied.
There was it did change a little bit, but anyway. So, Jon Snow sequel. What? What do you think? What are your thoughts, Chris? Because you and me, I can't do it. I don't want it.
You know, already. I can't do it, Gilly.
Can't do it.
Sam says Gilly. I can't, Sam. No, man. You know,
don't want it.
I'm gonna just be on the record here and say that I know more about A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones than anybody that you know.
No one.
To this day, I still continuously re-listen to the audiobooks every day. I go to sleep with Roy Dotrice.
It just comes on.
Yeah, when you get in my car, you hear Roy Dotrice talking about it was a Sunday morning. I don't say Sunday, but fucking tell the story. Dude. I listen to Game of Thrones. It's really A Song of Ice and Fire, but I listen to those books constantly, over and over and over again. The extended lore, the universe. I know more about Game of Thrones than anybody that you'll ever fucking meet. All right, I'm just saying it for the record.
Yes, you do.
For Bret Hart.
Chris does.
And so
full disclosure, he was the go-to guy at work.
My manager used to pull me into the office to ask me to explain what happened on Game of Thrones. Like, wait, so whose brother is that? Like, what's going on? And I would always be like the tour guide for Game of Thrones to explain all the fucking
good times. Great memories. I have great memories with Game of Thrones.
Now you can't have that conversation. It's just all about that final fucking season.
I know. It's still broken hearts, man. That's why it's painful. It was like a bad breakup or something. It wasn't great. So now, if there's gonna be a Jon Snow fucking sequel series, what do you do? Where do you take this? I mean, let's say Game of Thrones ends, he kills Daenerys, right? Then they decide, Bran's gonna be the king, or whatever, the new steward of democracy, as the 7 fucking kingdoms go to democracy, which always works out so well. There's such a great track record for democracy throughout history that there's no way that won't work. But
what are you talking about? Wondering, we live in a world where every nation is a democracy.
We live in a world where democracies are a couple hundred years old, more or less. They're not really Anyway, Jon Snow in the north. He's north of the wall, right? He's a wildling, basically. He's technically the king beyond the wall, but there is no more wall, technically.
It's still there. I mean, it
is, right?
It is still there. The Night King blew up a part of the wall, but it's also like, do they need it anymore because the Night King is defeated in the White Walkers? And I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, what's your prediction?
Because they've already been defeated. I think Game of Thrones, they're like trapped, like that world is trapped in this cycle of, they're just trapped in like the 1500s. They haven't had, it's been the same for like the whole, for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Few hundred years. Yeah. Since the Targaryens descended upon Westeros and defeated the first men and
the whole story, But the thing is that they've already defeated the Night King in the past, or the White Walkers, and then they go away for a couple thousand years and then they come back. So there seems to be like this cyclical nature of their world.
They're caught in a time loop. It's like fucking interdimensional fucking quagmire.
Yeah. Will they rebuild the wall? Who knows? But what I will say definitively, I mean, it seems until we hear more, they're calling it a Jon Snow sequel, not a Game of Thrones sequel. which to me indicates
true.
that it is not going to include the world of Westeros, as we know it. I think
Now-
it's going to take place up north.
Okay. I could see where you're coming from saying that, but I'm just like, why reopen this? Why even go there? Is it really necessary to go tell a Jon Snow romping in the north kind of like thing when
For a little
everything on the edge of everyone's mind is gonna be, well, what the fuck's happening in Westeros? Where's Bran? Is the kingdom dead? Is fucking Davos alive? Where's his sisters? Is he gonna ever see them again? Where's fucking Arya? You can't be like, oh, we're gonna go up into the north and explore the
Jon
fucking
is free
frozen
from
tundra.
all the other bullshit. That's the
No
whole
one's
story.
ever free in this story. You know how this shit works with family and
Right.
descendancy
So I
and all
think
this
for
shit.
a few seasons or for a little while,
come
it'll
on.
take place up there, and then eventually you're gonna
Okay.
hear something like,
Yes.
"Hey,
What's the conflict?
I think the
You know
conflict is Drogon. Drogon,
Drogon.
the dragon that is gonna fucking take over the world, pretty much.
Oh god.
At the very
Hopefully it's
end.
laying eggs. That'd be cool.
Well, it's the last surviving dragon. It's massive. It's like Balerion the Black Dread come again. He's supposed to be the conqueror of the world, according to the Dothraki. And Bran is keeping an eye on him. That's where it leaves off. Bran says, I'll be keeping an eye on him. And
Fucking
I think
Bran.
that it's going to ultimately come down to the only person that's going to be able to stop Drogon is Jon, whether that be killing him or taming him and riding him and, reclaiming his Targaryen heritage.
I feel like that should be part of it, but I don't know if that's the conflict of the whole.
Bran is not going to fucking
Why not just
turn
leave it
evil.
alone?
Bran is not turning evil. It's
No,
just
that's what I
fucking
was
rip
gonna
the
say.
scab
It's
right
not
off.
about
Because
Bran
that's
turning evil.
It is, though, because
it's not even malevolent. It's just the fact
same
that
as the Bran is the Night King fucking theory, which was always fucking stupid.
He did get touched by the Night King.
He got touched by him, and then he gets trapped. He
mark.
goes in. This was the theory that people had.
Did the Night King not
Bran
have a
goes
backup
back
plan?
in time, gets caught inside of the guy who's the Night King because he goes inside of him to tell the children of the forest, wait, don't kill me. You're going to create a White Walker. But then they don't believe him, and then he gets trapped inside of the Night King, and he becomes the Night King. Fucking stupid theory. Never made any fucking sense.
I don't subscribe to that necessarily. I'm just saying, if you're gonna open this fucking can of worms, this is similar to like an Obi Wan thing. When I think of Jon Snow up in the wilderness, fucking basically like throwing away his responsibilities, and the character's importance to the series. Jon Snow, why would you even want to dare tell that story? Like what would you open that book for, to be like, well, it's just a casual story about his adventures in the north. You're like, there's too much going on still.
Chime in here real fucking quick.
Yeah,
have
go.
a fucking frame of reference here, Donnie.
You're on your fucking
around.
Watch Game of Thrones, bro.
When it comes to Game of Thrones, but I do watch it. I will say that there's no fucking way that they're not going to touch on the stuff, further west in Westeros after all the fucking lash out and all the fucking hate that the last season got. There's no way that they're going to try to kind of rectify some of that stuff and tie in some of the characters in this show at some point. There's no way it's going to be just relegated to fucking, Jon and that's really it. There's just no way.
I did call there was going to be a sequel. And everyone said I was crazy, but I said I just have a feeling because I'm gonna
Go.
explain something for a second. George R. R. Martin's original plan with his books, there's supposed to be 7. There's 5 right now. There's Winds of Winter that's coming next that everybody's waiting for, and then he plans on writing another book after that called A Dream of Spring, which is probably an inside joke because when they say A Dream of Spring, that pretty much means it'll never happen in Game of Thrones language, A Dream of Spring. So anyway, his plan was to actually time travel, not time travel, but he wanted there to be like 10 years between like 2 of his books. So he wanted to kind of jump forward in time and kind of explain what happened and then take off the story there. He wanted it to take place over a long period of time. And he found that he couldn't really do that. Like, he tried to do that, and it wasn't working out. Anyway, my wacky fan theory that I've been holding out on is that what we saw for the finale of Game of Thrones was actually just the finale for Winds of Winter, and we still have a Dream of Spring coming up after, and maybe that's what this is. It's a Dream of Spring. It's what happens after the whole events of the last season. And
that was my first question. My first question seeing this is, does George Martin know? Because, like,
of course,
it's his fucking story. A. B, is this something that he's got planned and he was conversing about and it kind of came up? I'm curious where this comes from, because it does seem a little out of nowhere. I mean, I understand hype. Like, first of all, this could never come to fruition. They could cancel this. They could it's in like pre-development, and allegedly Harrington's attached. So it doesn't mean really anything more than it's a concept. They kind of like the idea and the direction, and they're going to move forward with like really investing in it. But does Martin know? Because it could obviously affect his story, and I know some people are like, well, he's just collecting checks, and I'm just saying he doesn't have to collect.
He's way
checks,
more
bro.
involved. He's
not
on
interested
the
in money.
record saying that he's way more involved with the shows now.
Oh well,
like,
that's good to know.
Because he put out a blog post recently talking about House of the Dragon. And,
yeah, we talked about it on an episode like earlier on, or early episodes. We did touch on that.
And listen, I feel for him in these books.
Involved.
I feel for him that writing these books, he's definitely, I'm sure, opened up so many different plot threads. You know, I read the books, and it's really at a point where there's so much going on. It's like, holy shit, how do you even start bringing this back home to, you know, the finale of what will be the next, you know, whatever, 2 books. But it's like never coming. It just feels like it's never happening. I feel bad, but I almost think like we'll probably not see the end of the story for like another fucking 15 years. It just seems like we're never going to really get that conclusion that I think some people want from him anyway.
At this point, there's too many characters and threads open. To your point, that was really why
like massive.
Why they struggled ending the show, because they were already cutting out plot points. The book, there's even more.
Oh yeah, it was streamlined
so
as
fuck.
That
you had to cut that it, like, you know, it really was an impossible plane to land.
And I mean, you know, he could, with The Hobbit and all those books, that shit took a long time to come out. So we're holding his feet to the fire because it's the internet age. But, you know, this shit takes a long time no matter what. I don't care who they are or what kind of author they are. Let me give my fucking theory about Bran. Because my only thoughts are, you know, yeah, if this goes into continuation territory of, like, Westeros and what's going on, and, you know, allegedly they broke the wheel, we broke the wheel and there's democracy and all this shit. That's great, but
a republic, not a democracy.
Bran, yeah, that's true. It's a republic. Bran is still like an all-powerful, all-seeing, all-knowing entity, no matter what. And I think anybody who knows the characters in Game of Thrones would perceive, there's someone out there that would perceive him as a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it's a Littlefinger-esque type or it's a Varys who just... Yeah, they don't like his power. He's not religious. He's
magic.
Yes, exactly. To me, there's a plot to be brewed, and whether it's Bran is, you know, acting in ways that are making people uncomfortable, or Bran needs fucking help because he's in a situation that he's surrounded by the enemy. You know, yeah, I think there's no way to leave that shit out and to just be like, oh, Jon just. He's the last Targaryen, damn it. And that's what pissed everybody off, was like, there was a prophecy and there was all this shit. And I know the classic George Martin, like, prophecies are never what they're said to be or what people think they will be. That's like a classic thing. Yeah. Tales of Dunk and Egg is all about that.
Prophecy is a 2-sided sword or something like that.
It's a double-edged blade. Yeah, it's literally, it cuts back. So, but I just think regardless, like, that shit doesn't go away. His reluctance to ascend to the throne is still a part of his nature, but the reluctant king is the best king, you know, and I don't think there should be a king anymore, but power is power is power. And if Bran's the most powerful guy, Jon's like the second most powerful guy because he's fucking unburnt. He can't get, you know what I mean? Like, he could ride dragons. What the fuck are we talking about?
Think about it like this. Instead of a king, Bran is a president, and the lords are now kind of like your senators.
Yeah, and there's always a plot.
There's power there, you know?
There's power in the Senate, but it's not like... And that's why I was going to say the malevolent or the Bran being evil, quote unquote, what I was thinking about that was, if Bran is the only person who can see all of these things and he can tell the future, he would know if someone's plotting against him, right? And he would kill them, right? I mean, you would just weed out bad weeds. I don't know.
I don't think he would, because he would know. He's learned throughout the books and the show that you can't stop these things from happening. They're going to happen anyway.
But well, that's a good point.
He didn't do much during the whole attack on Winterfell. He was the bait. He sat there.
Yeah,
Everyone
but this
acts
is
like
the show.
Bran is
Let's
more
not
powerful
confuse
than he
like
is.
the show. I mean, the show. He's powerful. He's the three-eyed fucking
powerful.
raven.
He
He
can
can see
see
everything
things.
all at once. He
Right.
can see everything all at once, and he's the de facto leader of the whole fucking of all of Westeros. So again, I think it either breeds jealousy or, to me that's compelling anyway. The politics of it, it's no matter what, I don't care how good or anything pure anything is, like there's always going to be malevolent actors, there's always going to be plotting and power struggle.
Son of Eddard
You
Stark.
can't break that wheel. That wheel is unbreakable. That is the human nature and the ascendancy. I'm sorry, like the obsession with power and the want for power is insatiable, and that's the tale in Game of Thrones. Truly, when Robert was the example of when you ascend to the power you think you want, it's not what you think it is, and then it's actually crippling how
but that
bad it is.
doesn't always happen. That's just what the big stories are. You don't know about the old King Jaehaerys who reigned for fucking like 60 years. You don't know. They tell the story of every single Targaryen king
But there were
told.
always plots. There were always things
There's always
happening.
things going on,
Yes.
but there's
Yes.
varying degrees of it. It's not like it's always this crazy action packed. But you're right. It's like a pot.
You need a
stove
compelling
top
story,
that
though.
eventually is going to kind of boil over. Here's a good thing that popped into my head that I want on the record that maybe they could do, is they have a final Blackfire rebellion. The Blackfires were a bastard branch of Targaryens that have it was a multi-generational war, between sons and heirs, but it was an offshoot branch of Targaryens that pretty much they're a substantial threat to Westeros. So it would be fucking cool if it turns out that the remaining Blackfire heir on the female side, whether it be somebody's son or whatever, there's one more Blackfire out there that tries to invade Westeros because there's no Targaryen. Now the Blackfire has the claim to the throne, and Jon has to come as the last Targaryen to fight it.
Something has to bait Jon out of the north. That's my expectation.
Drogon, what better way
and
than
every
a fucking dragon?
And every king beyond the wall has always come south, right? I think there's been
No.
2 kings. I thought there was one before Mance Rayder.
I mean,
but-
kings beyond the wall have multiple times marched on the wall, but they have king beyond the wall that haven't invaded.
Well, again, I'm talking about compelling story, Jon doing something that we would want to watch, and people are going to tune in and have certain it's like not having Darth Vader and fucking Obi Wan. Like, you're going to tune into this show to be like, what is going on with these people? Are they even mentioned in passing? It's going to be like, I don't think there has to be some big reunion, Avengers moment, or anything stupid like that. I want something that's good. Like, if you're going to open this up again, all I'm saying, if you're going to open this up again and you're going to put him back on fucking screen, it better be good. It better be fucking, because you could ruin the whole fucking thing again twice. You could bury it twice, and that would be disappointing as fuck, especially with stuff where you're smart to go to the House of the Dragon where it's removed, but it's still, like I say, I want to be in that universe. When I watch Game of Thrones, I just had it on today while I was editing. It's like, it's great. I love it. I love Westeros. I love the whole theme and the medieval and the undertone, the politics. That's I love that. My bread and butter. I'm all about it. So I would love to see more of that. I have no problem going back in the House of the Dragons, but specifically, I said House of the Dragons. Oh man, almost feels like getting back together with the ex-girlfriend. Like, is this a good idea? I don't know if I should do this, but maybe. Now, if you're gonna have Jon Snow back on screen, it's like, holy shit. This, he's Jon Snow, or not even Jon Snow. He's Aegon Targaryen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not just gonna let that go. Or I don't foresee it to be like, yeah, he would reluctantly have to do something It would be full reluctance. I'm not doing it. I don't want it, whatever. And I'm not saying he ascends to be king, but to avoid Bran, to avoid the story in Westeros or whatever's going on would be crazy.
I mean,
I'd love
Bran,
to see Davos show up in a storm and fucking come through and be like,
yeah.
Jon, you know, like I would get fucking missing his fucking knuckles.
Yeah. It's possible Bran could freaking get a disease and die, you know, and they could just say like, yeah, I mean, he's the three-eyed raven, he's super, he could see everything.
Yeah, he can still die.
You know, he's still ultimately a man. People
at some point he's got to go. It's too powerful.
Fucking faceless man of Bravos can, you know, maybe they assassinate him, or maybe he just dies of illness and, you know, of weakness.
Yeah, Chris does not like the idea of Bran being perceived as the evil one.
It's so, I don't know if the word antithetical would. It is so against everything about Bran
like
as a character.
The underlying themes,
I will never believe that a son of Eddard Stark would fucking do anything to dishonor his house. And Bran. Everyone fucking says, "Oh, who has the best story?" Bran does have the fucking best story
in the
Fuck
books.
You. In the books,
let's not go back.
Sure.
We've done this. We've hashed
Bran
this.
has a good fucking story. I will not listen to Bran being the fucking evil king. Fuck
he's
that.
He's so detached. It's just so like he's so not
Phil
himself.
Dunphy has a good point. He said,
I was gonna say, yeah,
would
go to
bring
the
Jon
comments.
south for the funeral. Could be it. Maybe a family death. He comes because I mean the Night's Watch. Uncle Benjen would come down to Winterfell and visit. You know what I mean? Like you're not stuck at the wall. So yeah, they might pull him in there.
So Sansa's running Winterfell, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on down there. There's a
Winterfell
lot happening
is an
in
independent
Westeros.
kingdom, if I recall correctly. It's separate.
Oh yeah, the North is now
from like the
its
Seven
own
Kingdoms. Yeah.
Well, now they're all technically because it's a republic, so it's all independent countries come. It's like the EU.
Yeah. There's so many directions they can go, and that's what I always said about the finale was it seems like they left it open for sequels. The finale. They left it very wide open. The story didn't end, everybody didn't die.
They left it like they didn't know what the
like,
fuck
all right,
to do.
you know, they're gonna run the kingdoms and this is where we are. You can always pick up from that. I wonder are Benioff and Weiss involved? I think it'd be best if they weren't. You know,
just for the sheer, just. But
maybe
for
they always
reputation.
planned this. Maybe it was always part of the plan to do, you know, a story after that. That's what I wonder.
Let's not do that. Anyway, wait. Let's go back to the comment section. What was it? What was up there?
So apart from that, Phil was asking, what level of control does Martin have? If he doesn't want a show to happen, does it not happen? Absolutely. I mean, he's said on his look up his last blog. That's where he communicates out to people. It's not on Twitter or whatever. He has a blog. And he said that there's a number of projects they're working on that he can't talk about. So he knows about all this shit. And, man, it's going to be so fucking good. I love that they've created a universe, you know, like a Marvel type of thing or
Lord of the Rings-esque. It's very...
where multiple stories can always be retold. And, you know, I imagine at Universal Studios there'll be a Game of Thrones world one day that I can go to.
I'd do that, yeah. Actually,
right?
yeah. Especially mixed with like Harry Potter.
You go on a Night's Watch roller coaster ride or something. Fucking stupid.
Well, at this point, they could definitely get Game of Thrones movies in theaters if they really wanted to, because of how HBO and Time Warner, it's a whole giant conglomerate. So
that's if they,
I could see that. I could see that. Well, simultaneous, whatever, whatever the fuck they're doing. If they can make Jurassic Park 6, they can make a fucking Game of Thrones fucking movie.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Saying, I would have loved to see so many things in that skit, to the scale of Westeros and that whole universe on the big screen. It could. Dragons. What did Phil say? His favorite part were the dragons and the wolves. What the fuck, man? There's so many things I could complain about that were missing, but we know why they're missing.
Well, they always said it was due to budget. There wasn't enough ghosts. They definitely didn't have enough direwolves in it.
Same problem.
I don't know how they're going to do House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon is like fucking... There's like 14 dragons in that. It's where all the dragons fight and die, pretty much. So I'm curious, budgetary-wise, or how that's going to look on... They have a few years, because it takes years to build to that all-out civil war. And I'm sure they're going to cut out countless characters and combine characters, and that's another thing too. House of the Dragon is told from 3 different perspectives, so It's not. George R. R. Martin confirmed that. That was my question that I had. The only question I had going into this was, how are they going to tell the story that is told 3 different ways? It's always like, this guy said this happened, another guy said this happened. Now it's going to be told from one point of view, and
That's very similar to Game of Thrones, though. That's similar. A Song of Ice and Fire is like that, where every chapter is from perspective, one character perspective, and then you have scenes that are shared where you'll read one and then the others later.
it's true. They do it in their
They
own
unified. Way. And they're good about it too, because sometimes that's how like that's how they show like miscommunication and some of the manipulation and like politics and communication, where they're just like, this person omitted this thing that we all know, we as the audience know this person said this, but then later they only say they skip a few parts, you know what I mean? And you as the they can express those things to the audience differently than in the book. In the book it's more specific, and you're actually almost as blind as the character is when you're reading its perspective. You don't know what that character doesn't know until if they do, crossover in chapters.
There's always differing accounts for sure. Phil was saying maybe they use Unreal Engine 5. I mean, fuck, I feel like
everybody can do the volume. Every single I forgot what making of I just saw. Shit. Not Avatar. No, there was a making of another movie, and they were creating a volume. They were creating the same thing that Disney has, but they were doing like their own version of it. But that's the new thing now. These OLED screens, and these, instead of green screen, it's all OLED, and they're using video game engine technology to project the background scenery onto the screen behind the actors, and they're blurring the line of the physical and the. But sometimes it's obvious. It's not. I don't know whether it's the size of the OLEDs or whatever. Of course, the technology is going to get fucking better.
That actually brings up, I know we're winding down, so if there's anything in the comments that you guys want to mention before we end this, but that brings up a good point. In that, what makes Game of Thrones, or what made Game of Thrones so unique, was that they fucking went to Iceland and filmed this shit like on volcanoes and fucking and
you can feel
tundras. They were freezing their fucking asses off,
you can
and
feel
like
that,
now.
Definitely.
Whereas Disney, they're filming something out in fucking, I don't know, it's like a desert or something, right? Or just a big open area, and then with the LED screens, which is cool.
Sometimes it's a mixture, yeah.
But there's something to be said about, filming and working in those extreme conditions.
The actors would tell you, and that's part of the reason the show couldn't go on either, that it was unbearable at times. It was like some of the worst shit they had to endure.
That fucking to because he said that like taking that outfit off was like the hardest fucking thing he ever had to do.
He went into a full blown depression when it ended,
and now he's putting it back on. So it's like he's fucking putting the cape back on, dude. It's crazy, but
it's Obi Wan esque.
He has to want to redeem the character. It's got to be.
That's what I'm telling you. That's why I think this is happening, because there is a want for redemption. There is a want to kind of help. Maybe make things make more sense if there's a way that they can do it in the story, in a good narrative. But I don't think they avoid Bran or any of Westeros. I think you go for it full on. That's the whole point in opening this back up. Why would you do anything different? Anything different is just going to annoy people and be like, oh, all right, cool. But I wanted to see Obi Wan fight Vader. That's why I watched the show, and that's why I fucking waited 25 years. And it's the same kind of idea in my mind. It's not
going to exist for sure. I mean, I already see people saying, "I'm not even going to watch this." It's like,
it's popular to say that shit. That shit gets likes, bro, because people are negative Nancy's and they don't give a fuck. And it's like, well, what do? Why don't you go do something and produce something and put yourself out there creatively and try? And it's hard. Like, these motherfuckers are real people trying to write, direct, and make this shit happen. And it's not, it doesn't lack for effort. That would be my thing. These people are putting a ton of effort in. It's not, it's like, oh, Disney's milking but all those people on set really give a fuck. No one's out there like,
right.
What are we doing? Are we going home yet? These people are dedicated to doing this shit. The directors of Game of Thrones and all those fucking people, those crews, when they burnt down Westeros in that last season, that was fucking crazy what they did. They built like a whole mini city, and
that doesn't even get any
incredible.
fucking credit. because of everything that fell out in the story. But that fucking destruction of the city was.
That's how important it is. It's vital that the narrative
Even
makes
like
sense.
the battle of the Cleganes, the Hound and that whole thing, like that was a fucking. The episode was 100% destruction from end to end. It was a pretty good fucking episode. But
it was.
Yeah, it's
right.
that's great. Phil, I'm getting it on record. Phil said Sweet is right. Finally. Vindication. Finally somebody said I'm right. But he's saying I don't think we'll ever see I don't think we'll ever see what Game of Thrones was ever again.
The vastness of
Oh,
location and shoot. Yeah, Phil knows. Phil has experience in that shit. Phil knows what it's like to be out there doing that, and
we're trying to fucking film in Rob's basement and having a fucking hard enough time. Imagine being in fucking Iceland.
Don't talk. I know, man. I can't imagine the fucking disaster. And all the backup plans. We can't start a show at 9:00 at night with our day off. Well, not your day off. That's why. But
Rob's basement. We want to thank everyone who's joined us this evening for the show. I hope you guys fucking like Game of Thrones, because there's going to be a lot more Game of Thrones conversation from these two and Rob once the House of the Dragon releases in August, and then whenever that Jon Snow sequel show, we'll call it like the redemption show for how it ended for Game of Thrones, the final season. But next Friday, we're all going to be together. We're going to be in studio in AKA Rob's basement. That's our homegrown studio, and we're going to be talking, a lot of Obi Wan, the season finale of Obi Wan.
And the boys maybe too.
I haven't watched the new Boys episode that came out today. I will probably watch it tonight or tomorrow, so I'm off the next couple of days. But we're definitely going to touch on the Boys. We're going to talk about some of the new things in gaming. They had the Microsoft Bethesda conference recently. We're all going to get together at some point and try to play Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was released yesterday. It's fucking awesome. I did get to play the first couple of levels of that. Really, really fun. Really, really cool. Rob is going to love that fucking game. I can tell you, he will absolutely adore that game.
We'll have Rob back next week.
All of you who got to join us tonight, thank you all to our recent subscribers, our recent followers, all the likes and the love that we've gotten over the past week. Thank you, Vin, for banging out all those videos, and thank you, Sweet, for producing our show. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you just watched, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We are out.